Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest today is Randy Nelsen, the Professor Emeritus, Department of Sociology at Lakehead University. Randy, welcome.
Thanks, Steve.
So Randy, let's start with a little bit of background. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Were you born in Thunder Bay, or how did you end up here?
I was born in Portland, Oregon, so I'm an American, but not a draft dodger. And I went to school at Willamette University in Salem, Oregon. They had the solar eclipse there yesterday.
Well, just on Monday, I know.
It was perfect, on Monday. And I went from there after 4 years of university at Willamette University to the University of Hawaii to do my master's degree work. I was there in the mid-'60s. And then after that, those were the days when you could actually get a job with a master's degree, not a PhD. And so I went clear across the country to the State University of New York at Albany, where I was an instructor there, and also at Union College in Schenectady, New York. Then in 1970, I came to Canada in order to do my PhD at McMaster University in Hamilton. And I left there in '75. Spent a year as a visiting prof at Concordia College in Montreal, and then came to the Lakehead in 1976 and taught for 35 years in the Department of Sociology here. And I'm still kind of keeping my hand in, teaching spring courses sometimes. I just taught one this last spring.
So that Professor Emeritus, what the heck does that mean?
Professor Emeritus, at many universities, you have to actually qualify in a kind of rigorous way for it. At Lakehead, I think they handed out it's a little easier to get it at Lakehead. After all, if you've survived all those winters in Thunder Bay, I think you should get something. You know?
We should all get some kind of reward here, right?
No, you have to rise to the rank of associate professor. And then if you still have a beating heart by the time you retire, they make you Professor Emeritus. So associate professors and full professors get that title upon retirement. So I was a full prof. I did my time, although I love the Lakehead. That's why I'm back here. And that's what I got.
And so you're in the Department of Sociology.
Yes.
What is sociology? What does that mean to normal folks?
Normal folks.
Like me.
Yeah. It means the study of people in their institutional settings, their organizational settings, and the study of society as a whole, how all these institutions and organizations fit together, how they interact. And there are major components, of course, of a society. You know, you have the economic system, you have the political system, you have family, organized religion is another component, and then education and science. That's another component. I guess you could add in the modern day technology. So these are things we study. We study how people interact with each other. So it's different from psychology. We search for social explanations, where psychologists oftentimes are searching for more individualistic explanations. So that's a shorthand version of what we do. I specialize in sociology of education, and particularly higher education.
Well, in terms of, sociology of education, I've just been reading the book, The Right to be Cold, Sheila Watt-Kluche, I think her name
I haven't
was.
read that.
Well, an Inuit leader who is talking about education, and it kind of opened my eyes. They, in the 80s and 90s, started taking over authority for education in their communities up in our Canadian North.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about how education was brought from the South, and the same model and curriculum and stuff was like imposed. And what they did is said, well, how does it fit with our own culture and our own needs? And we need to redesign our education so that people are able to live in the North and interact with our environment, but with an understanding of the broader world as well, because we're now a global village. So education can be seen from many different angles.
Absolutely, and you're bringing up a really interesting point, because part of what's wrong with the current education system, in my view anyway, is it's designed for kind of one size fits all. And that doesn't work. It doesn't work for individuals. It doesn't work for groups. It doesn't work for regions of the country and for different ethnic and cultural groups. We need to take into account our diversity and our differences, build that into curriculum and so on. Technology does not help here in some ways. In fact, technology sort of moves us towards pre-packaged programmed education, so that education becomes these learning packages. Education becomes a commodity, a product that you then kind of push on everyone, and that's where you get the one-size-fits-all mentality, and it doesn't often work. So you're raising a really interesting point here.
Well, and many of the viewers know I've been an advocate for injured and disabled workers and around disability, and so when we talk about something for the norm, oftentimes it doesn't fit for people with disabilities. So we've got a lot of stories about, I mean, even, some of my own kids and grandkids who may have a learning disability or something, don't fit within that structure and really struggle, where a different way of learning, they thrive.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely true. At the university, certainly we're trying to incorporate people from diverse backgrounds, and I think particularly the education as it applies to indigenous population. So now there's a department at the university, Indigenous Learning, but now there's a requirement to have indigenous content in all the relevant courses right across the university, not just as part of that department. The only problem with that so far, from my vantage point anyway, is that there wasn't enough consultation with the people actually who are in the Indigenous Learning department. They should have been consulted, I think, to a far greater extent than they were. And there's been some problems in the implementation of this indigenous component for all courses. But at least they're trying. They're giving it a shot, and they're recognizing that we do have diverse population, and there's a lot of different needs that need to be met at the university level.
Hang on right there, Andy.
Okay.
We need to take a short break.
Okay.
Please stay with us. We'll be right back.